Let's discuss about how to handle the form and events using a practical example. So we are going to demonstrate by creating a real registration form with username, email, phone number to register the form, and how do we deal with the validations, styling and handling the events. Let's start designing our registration form with name, email and phone fields, which where we maintain all of these things in a state, and at the same time you'll have event handlers for each one of them. Whenever you change a name or change an email or phone, you have a corresponding event handlers. And when user clicks on register button, you have a handle submit method, an event again handle where you can capture all the input of name, email and phone number, and we should be able to submit the data to the backend. At the same time, we will try to include registration module.css where include the styles required for it. Let's go and try to demonstrate with an example using registration form. Let's go to our Visual Studio Code. So here we are in Visual Studio Code. Let's go and try to create a new folder called forms and event handling. Let me go and create a component called as registration.js. So what do we do in your registration.js is we are going to create a registration component which contains the name, email and phone field and the corresponding fields for that. So let's start defining the registration form. Before that, I want to create a registration module.cs dot module. Okay, I can make it smaller case. CSS, what I can do, I'll try to borrow the styles which I have defined for my login module and try to keep it for a while here instead of updating the styles. So now in my registration form, first thing we need is we'll go and try to import use state. So this is using node style, so let's go and try to use it in our typical ES6 module style. Yeah, we want to import react comma use state. Then we'll try to import the styles also. Import styles from registration.module.cs. Let's go and try to define a function called registration, and here we are going to define the fields. Like I want to have constant user with set user, I want to have the name field, I want to have the email field, and at the same time phone. This is what I want to have the fields for the phone, and even I will have the password also. Yeah, so let's try to have the password field also. And let's go and try to define our before even we define any of the change events, let's go and try to define our form to include the styles related to that. So what we do is let's go and try to define a form with class this, and inside that we'll call it as a registration form. And we can have a grouping here with the div class. Yeah, so we can have the grouping here, and yeah, we can have the labels. First we can have the first one is for the name field. Okay, I'm going to change those fields accordingly. Then we'll have the email field, and we'll typically have for the phone, and then we can include the same fields for the password also. I'm going to explain each one of them in a detailed fashion. Okay, so what I do now, I'm going to have, yeah, we have to close this form field. Yeah, we need to have a submit button, close this form field, and close the corresponding themes, and try to even export our default registration form. So what we do now, so we are going to specify our uh, class name as styles.form. That's perfectly fine. Let's go to registration model, what exactly we are calling it as. So let's change the styles to form. And yeah, so we are going to have, yeah, class name, this instead of form group we are going to call it as input group, because that's how we are given the styles in our thing. Yeah, input, sorry. So we have already done these styles in our previous examples. I'm just trying to reuse the same thing for our registration form. So even for our classes also, we should be able to go and use, yeah, input. So we can use class name equal to, remember the syntax of curly braces or flower brackets here. You can say styles dot input. Okay, so let's try to refactor this on change event. I don't want this on change to be as a arrow function. Instead, I want to have a separate function for this handle name change, and I'm doing the same thing for a couple of different fields also here, because I don't want to be an arrow function. I want to define a named function so that we can go and debug them accordingly. Yeah, so we'll call it as handle name change. This we call it as handle email change. Call this as handle phone change. At the same time, you can have the same method for the password also. So I'm trying to repeat the same thing here. Okay, handle password change. Okay, perfect. That's perfect for us. Now let's define the fields for them. So what we do now, we can define for the handle name change. We can go and update our name field with this. You remember the syntax. It has to be very careful when you're trying to update. You need to get the existing user object and go and update the name field on top of that. That is what we are trying to do so far. Same name, same thing goes for, again, try to have handle email change, try to get the existing user object and update it. Similarly with phone number change also. So take the existing object and then go and try to update the corresponding name email. So we have already seen in our previous examples, if you just try to update only the name, you lose the context of the complete user object and you will have only the name displayed and the output. So now let's go and try to display the password change also here. Right, done. So again we can have on submit. So we have not defined a submit method here. So what I do, I'll try to define an on submit method. Okay, handle submit, or otherwise I'll better call it as register user. Okay, so what I can do here, I can go and try to have the method for that. For now we are going to log those messages. Okay, so we have defined our fields. Let's try to, we have exported also. Let's go to our app.js. The shortcut command is Control P. Go to app.js and try to import the registration. Okay, registration form we have here. Then let's go and comment on our code base. Go to registration. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, if the application is not running already, you can issue the npm start command. If the application is running already, then you can just go and open the browser. Like you can have a look at your browser to do that. Okay, so here is our name, email, phone and password fields, and somehow the styles we are trying to expect have not been applied. So let's go and see what are those styles that has been missed. Okay, So if you go to our registration, yeah, we don't have any styles applied here. We can say class name equal to, let's see what is the styles we have been defined. Yeah, we can have this as a submit button. Class name equal to styles dot submit button. Okay, these are the styles we have. Styles dot form, styles dot input group, styles dot input is this the style. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we are getting these styles. Yeah, we don't have email, phone, and all these fields in the styles applied. Let me take this and go and try to apply these styles here, and also try to apply these styles here. Yeah, perfect. So we have on password also try to apply those styles. So we have this class name dot styles dot input being there. Yes, we have, and yeah, we should be able to apply the styles for the label control also. Yeah, so we have these styles, and we can apply for each label. What was the style? Class name equal to styles dot label. Yes, and we take the same styles for the different fields. So this all we have already discussed. I'm just trying to ensure that we are following the same styles here. That's it. Yeah. So our form is ready with the, in very less time we are able to create a registration form with the required CSS styles here with the name, email, phone, and password. And whenever, yeah, we can start feeding in these fields like Kumar and all, otherwise whatever you want. And you can inspect and have a look at the sources. Go and try to have on registration.js, and if you go to your registration user, yeah, you should be able to see your user field captured with all the email, name, and password and phone fields. So this code we have already checked on how, like whenever a name changes and email changes, how exactly it is going to reflect. So this we have been discussed in our previous classes. If in case we want to go and change this, yeah, if you go and change any of these fields, yeah, it will automatically go and call your method here handle name change. So you'll be able to access those information and try to debug them accordingly. Okay, so you can have the corresponding breakpoints and whatever you are required. Okay, I'm trying to change this to, yeah, if you see here your handle name change event has been triggered, and you should be able to what we are doing is we are going and updating those corresponding fields in the, as a part of change, we are going and updating our fields, like if you see Jetanix, what was the name, what was the existing user object, and at the same time you should be able to look at your e tag. So anyways, so if you want to debug, you should have a couple of statements to capture the e dot target dot value over there. Yeah, so long story short, what we are doing here, whenever the name changes, we are going and updating the name. Whenever the email changes, we are going and updating the email. Whenever phone changes, we are going and updating the email field over here. So we're not able to keep the breakpoint at the corresponding location because this video trying to do in a set object that too with the arrow function. In case if it was a normal traditional function, should have been debug, and we know that. Okay, yes, this, so we are going to set those values. Okay, so the interesting thing was when you try to click on register, you are able to access the complete field values. And in case if you have any backend API to go and register this user, you should be able to go and register the user by calling the post method of that request.